You know, there are about $70 billion worth of other deals besides that $85 billion deal involving AT&T and Time Warner. Among them in the financial arena, TD Ameritrade and Scottrade, with TD Ameritrade offering upwards of $4 billion for that concern. I could go on and on, but who better to go on and on about it than a guy who crunches the numbers better than anyone? Nuveen Asset Management's Bob Dahl, on what is behind all of this. What is, Bob? What's driving it all?
I think there are a bunch of things, Neil. One is, hey, if I'm a CEO, I can borrow money at essentially zero.
That you always could. You've had that for years.
For quite some time, and so I've been buying my stock back,
right,
and that's juiced my earnings some, and my top line's starting to grow a little better, but it's still not good enough, so maybe I'll buy the company down the street to accelerate.
And ironically, Time Warner has been one of the beneficiaries. It's been buying about $8 billion of its shares. So that is the trend, but is there a sense politically that you strike while the iron's hot besides that? Or
well, you know, there's some correlation between kind of end of one administration and beginning of another, where you see some pickup in these deals as people are testing the water. I still think it's the economy's doing a little bit better, and CEOs are sensing interest rates aren't going to be zero forever. So if I'm gonna get on with it, maybe now's the good time.
You see more.
I suspect there'll be more coming. Stocks are still cheap when I can borrow at zero to do a deal, if you will.
Gotcha. And that could explain why the Dow is doing well and the financial aggregates are doing well. But what if they're wrong? What if they're assuming all of these deals are gimmies and go through? Now, what is going on with this AT&T Time Warner? Because for the time being, Time Warner shares are well south, $20 plus of the $107.50 that AT&T is on.
They are for a bunch of reasons, most particularly, is the deal going to happen? Will they get approval? How long will it take
Do you
for
have your doubts about it?
Absolutely.
Really?
I think that, look, you and I both know the media business is massively complicated, and figuring out market share and competition, all that's going to take some time, and so many who are more expert at this than me are saying 50-50, some are saying 40-60, some say 60-40, so this one's not a gimme, as you said.
You know, the one thing that I was saying, this deal notwithstanding, but we've seen this trend, content still matters, whether you get it on a traditional TV screen or one of these devices or a phone, whatever. Content matters.
And Time Warner has a bit of content.
Yeah, it has a little bit of content.
Telephones saying, hey, let me have that content.
Do you worry, though, about, let's say, an AT&T doing this with all the debt it has on the books now, albeit at a cheap price, but it's a lot of debt.
It is a lot of debt, and I'm sure AT&T had to have a lot of second thoughts before they move forward. It is a lot of debt. You know, I haven't crunched the numbers, but you're correct to point that out. Somebody told me, I don't know if this is true, AT&T, if they do this deal, will have more debt than any company has ever had before. So, yeah, there's a lot of debt.
Obviously, when a company does that, right, they do so believing, A, they can eventually pay it down. It is well worth going into debt for, like a young couple buying a house that might be over their head, but they're going to grow with the value of the house, et cetera, et cetera. Is that the case here?
Well, I think they're a little more analytical than that, and they can understand what the value of this content is, how they can add it to what they do, create the synergies necessary to go more quickly than either company could alone. So I'm sure there's good thought behind that, and I think legitimate thought. The question is, will the regulators permit it to happen? Now, look, we're
seeing on right and left, Donald Trump puts too much concentration of power in the hands of too few. Bernie Sanders, the deal would mean higher prices, fewer choices for American people. So this isn't a slam dunk with Republicans or Democrats.
I think you said it right. And we're in election season, so it doesn't make sense to say those sorts of things,
right,
almost on what you think. So the proof will be in the details, and that will take some time. There was talk this would be concluded by the end of the year. I doubt that.
No way. No way. That. What is your sense of the markets right now? The deals lately have been the wind at its proverbial back, but where do you see them going?
Well, look, I continue to think it's a grind higher. This will be the first quarter, the third quarter earnings reports we're having now, where revenue growth is positive since 2014. The numbers are coming in better than expected by a wider margin than we've seen. It looks like we will have a positive quarter, first one in a while. Let me say it this way, the earnings recession is over. And yet the stock market did just fine through this earnings recession. And maybe
that would mean it has a ways to go up.
Yeah, but earnings growth is going to be slow. Top line growth slow. Hard to argue for higher margins.
But you can improve your top line growth. You just top out with other players.
You do a deal, right? Do a deal. I know it's among the reasons why. If you're sitting around a corporate boardroom these days, you know the top-line growth rate is a struggle for most companies. So inevitably on the strategic list has to be, could we do better if we were combined with somebody else?
All right. As far as interest rates, you think in December the Fed moves to
I
hike?
sure hope so. You know,
Really?
there's speculation around all this. I'm an equity guy. I think the Fed goes, it's saying, economy's okay. Thank you very much.
Not that it's behind the curve.
Well, I might say that too. I think
Right.
they've had a lot of chances to move, as many have, and I would argue that. You know, inflation in this country is not zero anymore. It's not a big number, but it's moved from very low
Certainly
to low.
warrants higher rates than we've got now.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Robert, always good seeing you, my friend.
Ditto.
Thank you very, very much.